Have you had that phone call with Mike Riley yet that we were talking about last Sunday afternoon?
No.
Wow.
No.
Are you surprised by that?
Yeah. I mean, I've got a lot on at the moment, as you can imagine, but as you know, as you can imagine, my phone's always on. So I was told I was getting one. So I think when you get told from the Premier League that you're going to receive a phone call, then I would expect that to happen. But it hasn't happened, and it's been over a week. So I don't know whether they got the ump with me because I mentioned it to you guys, which I'm always going to, and why shouldn't I?
Were you in any way heartened by the fact that you've got a lot of other Premier League managers right now essentially voicing the same concerns as you? Not a couple of hours after what happened at you and I talking, there was something in the Newcastle game that there's a group of managers now all kind of wanting change.
Well, yeah, because I think if you sat a group of managers, if you sat the 20 Premier League managers inside Stockley Park and sat 20 experienced players inside Stockley Park, I believe that 90% of the decisions they would agree on. The foul on Xander Berg, they would agree on. From our point of view, the foul on John Egan or that situation, they would agree on. The ball that crossed the line, they'd agree on. The penalty that should have been resulted in, they would agree on. And so, as I've just said regarding that, there's certain players that maybe have just retired from being regular Premier League players, and obviously I believe that there's a few managers out there that would like to help the game, and that's all we're after, helping the game to making the right decisions. The right decisions on VAR and how far it goes back, and is that gone outside the time limit or is it inside the time limit? And I believe there are always going to be conversations, possibly not in the pub as it used to be, because we're living in a different world now. But there's always going to be discussions about refereeing decisions, but it just seems to overtake the game now, in my opinion, and I think that's really sad. And I believe the same for every other manager as well. Players don't want to talk about it. Managers really don't want to talk about it, because I can imagine everybody's bored about it. But we get asked continually about our opinions, and we're obliged, and rightly so, to give our opinions on it. And I'm bored about talking about VAR, about Stockley Park, about rubbish decisions that we all deal with, and talk about my team and the major bit, which is the football bit, and what we need to do to get a result at Arsenal, and what players are we signing, and who's doing well and who needs to do a little bit better, and should I do this from a tactical point of view, or a technical point of view, or a selection point of view, or am I doing that from those parts of the game? Not continually talking about this, but it just seems to be the norm in every presser before, during, and after a game.
Afraid so. So what do you think?
I think that's it, Andy. It is. I'm afraid so. I think you are. I bet you're bored in asking me the questions on it. I think that.
If you're asking, yes, I am.
Yeah, I think we all are.
Change the whole thing.
We all are. We want to talk about, situations in football. Who we're signing, who we're not signing, or parts of the game, or refreshing parts of the game that I said about, Marcelo looking at the game and going, yeah, well, I thought at the end that we thought we deserved to win it, but looking back at that, it was a really tight game, or some sort of individual brilliance that you see and go, what about that? How good is that? Or some emerging young player that's coming through. Let's talk about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. The part that Sheffield United have played in his development, and how brilliant it is for a Sheffield boy to be absolutely ripping it up in the Premier League. And I'm disappointed that he hasn't got a red and white striped shirt on, but obviously everybody knows that situation at the time, and what we needed to do with him and Brooksy and Che Adams and even Aaron Ramsdale, and how proud his parents are that a young kid from Sheffield is making the England squad, These are the things for me that we should be talking about and concentrating on and focusing on, and not continually talking about other situations that really should be happening once every 3 and 4 games. I've managed a load of games. I'm sure that I've and obviously the media scrutiny that this division brings up. I understand that things will be more talked about, but not to the level and extent that they are getting talked about at this particular moment.
So, as we're talking about tactics then and Arsenal and facing the Gunners on Sunday, what more do you want to see from your team if they're to get a result down there?
Yeah, shape of the team's good. Leeds are a high tempo, high pressing team, and will play in a different way to Arsenal. Arsenal are a more counter attacking team, so that poses different challenges. At the top of the pitch, they've got some outstanding talents and invested unbelievably so in fees and wages, eye-watering wages at times. But this is what we're up against. No good moaning about it. These are the challenges that it faces me and my coaching team, and my players going into the game. They've obviously got more structure about them. You can see that they're more difficult to play against. They defend from the front. They all have individual roles, jobs and responsibilities to keep the ball out the back of the net in the structure of a team. But then they possess players that going forward are positive and players that can hurt any team in the Premier League, as seen by their recent results. So a huge challenge for us. It doesn't get any easier. Leeds United is not easy. Villa have had an excellent start. It doesn't get any easier. You look at our fixture list, but we're up for the fight. The players are in a good place from a mentality point of view. I'm not sensing anybody feeling sorry for themselves. I've received a couple of calls this week from people in the game and managers that I've worked with, and they look at the team and give the same opinion what I'm seeing, that we're not a million miles off a result. Us getting a result at Arsenal on Sunday, I keep saying, won't be the biggest result in world football, and we've got to believe that we can go there and be good out of possession and be good in possession, pick the right team, and hopefully get some from the game and kickstart our season, because certainly that's been the disappointing aspect, is that the performances really should have warranted a little bit more in terms of the points total that it's got.
Just finally from me, Jack O'Connell then was due to have his op in the week. Are the timescales for his absence, as we discussed last weekend, correct then? 6 months or so?
Yes, same Andy. No complications with the operation as far as the consultant was concerned, and the specialist. There was nothing when he got inside the knee that was untoward. What they was expecting was what happened, and the operation went straight forward. So Jack's in good spirits. He's obviously disappointed, but he'll be fine. He's a tough cookie, as we all are. It's a tough time for us at the football club. Tough time for Jack in his situation. Tough time for, I should imagine, the supporters, because it's not the start that we all wanted and expected. But we've been through worse periods than this, and it won't last forever. I keep saying, tough times don't last forever. But if you're tough and you've got the experience, you do come through it, and we will come through it. So there's things that are going against us, and we've got to dig in a little bit more, tighten up a little bit more, give a little bit more. But we've had a really positive week on the training ground. Everybody's pushing. Nobody's going individual. A favourite one is no terrorists in the group. I don't sign terrorists, and there's not any in the group that undermine anything that we're doing. We're all together, and that's how it always has been and always will be here at Sheffield United. So we're all pulling in the same direction, and hopefully we can do that on Sunday to get a result.